Hi, guys, and welcome to the Foreign and International Medical Graduate Podcast. And this is Dr. Osorio. As I promised on my website, osoriomd.com, I was going to come today and produce a short segment on YouTube to make you aware of what's going on. Like they say in my country, Colombia, chisme caliente, hot gossip off the press. Guess what? Guess what happened? Boom! Be ready to get your mind to explode. The USMLE has announced as of yesterday, January 26th of 2021, that the Step 2 CS has been completely canceled, nulled, out of the game, nothing, dead, forever. Who knows? They're gonna remove it. What's gonna happen? I bet the international community, probably the local community of US grads are probably thinking about the same, but this is drastic. This is a game changer, something that we did not expect. Obviously, you guys know that the USMLE is funded by three large institutions that are the ones that are supporting themselves. One of them is the Federation of State Medical Boards and the National Board of Medical Examiners. And from our end, from the foreign medical grads end, as you can see my diploma back there from 20 years ago, the ECFMG, Educational Commission of Foreign Medical Graduates, is also supporting and is behind this decision of the USMLE. So just to let you know what happened or what I think is happening, I'm in the works talking to Dr. Ricardo Correa, that he's been involved in this process in the past and giving us the latest and most up-to-date information in this. I'm waiting to hear a little bit. I've been questioning also the USMLE sending emails, and they're not really being very forthcoming about it. They just send you the same statement. So here are my thoughts. And don't freak out. This is not unusual with the 2020, 2021 pandemic. I guess they realized that traveling is not going to happen. And as we know, last year, back in May of 2020, they had decided to take a quick break on the testing process because obviously COVID came, and this test is a live interaction with live patients that are actors. And obviously, I don't know if you remember, these testing centers are small places, rather small places that are like a doctor's office with hallways and multiple surfaces, pens, doors, handles. And obviously this led to some sort of physical examination and interaction face to face with these paid patients, right? So the pandemic, I guess, is taking a hit to this type of testing, and they decided that it's not going to happen. They tabled it down. They thought that probably giving it a break from 12 to 18 months, things are going to get better, or we're going to get better. And as you all can hear and see, you know that the pandemic is having another peak now that we have the other variant coming from South Africa and the United Kingdom, and etc. And with traveling, this might be spreading all over. We know that the cases in the U.S. are on the rise, and it doesn't seem to stop, and the mortality is still there. So here are my thoughts. The pandemic, number one, the liability risk of hiring these patients that were actors. 3, exposing their staff. 4, the upkeeping and maintenance and cleaning of the surfaces, how daunting and time consuming it could be to keep them super clean, and how you're going to test people, how you're going to quarantine people flying into the US to take the test. Are you going to leave them in a hotel for 14 days like they're doing at the Australian Open in tennis, that the tennis players are going nuts? I don't think so. Are they going to test them, swab them? What if the test is a false positive? What if the test is a false negative? I don't know. You see, those are one implications. Number 2, they didn't make any money. They're really struggling financially. I think the USMLE, backed by the FSMB and the ECFMG, we're counting on the significant financial investment that you guys were doing for this. They said that they're not making themselves rich. I don't know if you do guys remember, this started as the OSCE That was a test for medical students then they realized that it was good for foreign medical grads to take it. In my time, I paid $1,200 to go to Philadelphia to the offices of the ECFMG and take the test. Crazy expensive. And we're talking 21 years ago. And these people are not getting any money. I mean, they canceled the test. I bet that they had to keep these 5 testing centers across the US open and supporting the staff and everything. It was just draining money. I bet that financially they were struggling. I don't suspect that they made too much money, and they probably don't have the funds to keep the business alive. And as you have seen, we have come up with better and smarter technologies for teaching and education during the pandemic. Obviously, the business of internet platforms, the interactivity, the capacity to talk to people, the possibility of having multiple cameras and interacting agents in one live feed is remarkable. So they think that they're considering newer technologies. They say that education is evolving and new tools and strategies are getting better. So they suspect that despite that the step 2 CS is dead, retired, discontinued, call it whatever, they're going to come up with new ways to test medical knowledge and clinical skills. On the other end of the avenue, you have obviously now the community starting to complain that how they're going to test us, mostly foreign medical grads with an accent, to test proficiently on patient to doctor provider interaction and communication skills. Well, their comment and their statement is that they're already integrating into step 1 and step 3 some ways to assess for verbal and medical interaction competencies, and that they are probably coming up with a new plan. I don't know if it's going to new test that is going to make this process more smooth. The other thought that I do have is that I think that they're going to invest quite a bit on this relationship that they have with the occupational English test for physicians, the new one that just has been taken and is one of the pathways. All obviously, this is leading to a complete change of the pathways of certification for ECFMG. So go to the ECFMG. They just published yesterday at the same time the requirements for certification for the 2021 match. And I'm not going to repeat it. It's rather complex and it applies individually to each one of you. So just take a read, understand what's going on, what you're going to be asked to submit, and be ready. That test that they mentioned, the OET, is there. So I think they're going to strengthen the OET. One more thing. What's going to happen to us, foreign medical grads? I know that we felt that many of you felt that there was a disadvantage by taking the step 1 in a pass and fail type of a scoring situation. I see some pros, I see some cons. I'm not going to go into details into that. Please go to my podcast in iTunes and download it. And I have several episodes on the pass and fail score with Dr. Ricardo Correa Marquez in the past. Take a look at that. But for step 2, we had the hope that we're going to score really well on the step 2 knowledge test, the CK. But the clinical skills, we didn't do too bad. I mean, maybe a little weak since we're not having rotations and interaction in the US, but not having that opportunity, we need to find new ways to challenge the status that we're dealing with. We need to strengthen our resume. We need to consider doing research. Clinical rotations are not happening in the US. I've tried, people are contacting me, nothing is happening. Medical liability, legal liability in the United States is huge. They don't want people coming here, getting infected. It's expensive, it's costly to get people tested, certified, get in quarantine, get into the hospital loops. I mean, guys, we're even having problems getting people to get visitation privileges to their relatives that are being patients. So it's tough. Just have faith. Be in the lookout that soon, within the next few days, I'm going to have Dr. Ricardo Correa Marquez once we gather more information on what it's going to be like for us. One last thing. The other reason why I think these people decided to cancel this, you guys know that non-essential traveling in the United States has been restricted pretty much. If you're not mandated to travel, if you're working from home and you don't have to have an emergency trip, people are not traveling. And these 5 testing centers are in 5 different cities across the United States. And the traveling restrictions in the United States are up and down, fluctuating. But for the most part, people are not traveling. So this, I bet that the brainiacs behind the board of trustees of the USMLE, that is, they have agents from the Federation of State Medical Boards and the National Board of Medical Examiners and the ECFMG, got together, put all these factors. I bet they spent dozens of hours analyzing this situation and being the lookout. Ojos abiertos, open your eyes. Don't freak out. Be in the lookout for more information. I will make myself responsible to bring you some more up-to-date information on this. And remember, never give up. Never give up. We have always found a way to come to this country, study, get our residency training spots, our fellowships, and be practicing physician in the United States. So, one reminder, go to iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, pretty much everywhere. I'm everywhere. Go to my website, Osorio MD. Just click on the links and download me. I'm also putting the podcast material on this channel. So do me a favor, right here, down below, there is a little bell. Set it up so you get reminders when I post something new. Also, subscribe. That's how I get up on the rankings. And if you find this information useful, try to disseminate this to any person that could benefit from it. Leave me a comment. Feedback is remarkably appreciated. And remember, the Foreign and International Medical Graduate Podcast is here to stay. Please help me welcome episode number 60, that we're going to be talking about this a little bit more in detail with my headphones on. Stay in touch. Dr. Alonso Osorio, says goodbye for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.